What if your free will is not about controlling your reality? What if it's choosing the state from which you view that reality? Welcome, you guys. Welcome to our The Power of Awareness, Neville Goddard's book reading, and our lecture on nervous system lens, how we view his work. Today, we will explore chapter 21, Free Will. It's a very beautiful chapter. This chapter is not about whether free will exists. It's rather something that Neville Goddard challenges us. It's about where that freedom actually lives. Because when we hear free will, we usually, in our mind's eye, we see something that we can control in every single second of our existence. But this is not what actually is meant, either in the Bible or any metaphysical esoteric teachings, right? It's about that the greatest free will is not in controlling our events, all right? It is in choosing the consciousness from which those events unfold. So, if you want the entire chapter reading, here's the card on the screen. You can click there because today we'll just view few of the paragraphs that are like the gems in this chapter. We will view this work as usual with nervous system lens because mind alone cannot interpret everything to the extent that we crystallize that understanding with our actions. We need also practice it with our body, with our nervous system. All right, so let's begin. The question is often asked, what should be done between the assumption of the wish fulfilled and its realization? Nothing, really. Like, this is what Neville says, nothing. Let's go here. To understand the law of assumption, to be convinced of its truth, means getting rid of all the illusions about free will to act. Free will actually means freedom to select any idea that you desire. By assuming the idea already to be a fact, it is converted into reality. Beyond that, free will ends and everything happens in harmony with the concept that you already assumed. You see, so for those folks who are actually discovering this first time, this either paragraph or the work of Neville Goddard, welcome you guys. For you, it might be a bit surprising, like something even perhaps triggering. No, it's not something I heard in the Sunday school, right? So, practically, what it means, what Neville tells us, that most people think freedom and free will means controlling every single outcome, right? Neville says that freedom comes before that. Either way, we cannot control outcomes, right? We cannot control circumstances. We rather welcome them. So let's take this as an example. Imagine you applied for a job, right, or a new position, and you start kind of wondering, should I send another email? Should I follow up? Should I call them? Anything, right? Or send a message. So this is the action part. So Neville would say that you're looking for the right action in here, in this regard. But before any action, there comes a state that you consciously or unconsciously inhabit. So choose the assumptions that you already having whatever you desire. Like in this case, it's going to be the job example, right? The position itself, that it belongs to you, that the role belongs to you. And from that state, whatever action is appropriate will arise on its own. This is the thing. Sometimes you will be the one who's going to initiate the action, but it's not going to be from the survival mode. It's going to be from the intensity of inspiration, rather, or just opportunity, right? Or sometimes it can be also receiving the whatever opportunity or anything. Many people disregard it as a non-action, but actually receiving is also an action. So you see how it works? So the greatest choice, you guys, is not what happens next. It is the state that you choose to occupy right now. And after that, the action will arise naturally. This is what it means by free will. This is what Neville explains in his entire chapter. So your free will is the freedom to choose this state, and it stops there. After what you choose, that state will dictate the actions or the receptivity that will be activated upon anything that's going to arrive aligned with that state. All right? So let's go. Here. I wanted to check this one. Yes, yeah, I know you guys, we skipped a lot, but again, if the entire chapter reading is available on this channel, but I just chose certain paragraphs that really hit the very core idea that Neville Goddard wants to educate us with. All right. So it is impossible to do anything. You must be in order to do. If you had a different concept of yourself, everything will be different. You are what you are, so everything is as it is. The events which you observe are determined by the concept you have of yourself. Either you want to agree with that or not. This is the truth, you guys. And sometimes having that awareness is already a first step, sort of a surrender to this very understanding, right? Practically speaking, from this paragraph, we often try to act act out a way into a new identity. Neville reverses it. We do not need to do that. So, from the lived experience, for example, someone wants to start a certain business, right? So they spend weeks saying or adjusting or building the entire world, if you will, entire empire, right? And based on that, it's going to be structure, systems, analytical mind will just kick in there. You might ask yourself these questions like, what's the next steps? How will I reach that? How will I get the clients? And yada, yada, yada. And the steps to take first, right? So who are you being whilst asking these questions? Are these questions something that's reflected based on the patterns of not having that? Or are these questions already questions that are aligned with the open doors and the steps that you have taken? Because the person who already identifies as a business owner, he doesn't approach every decision from uncertainty. You do not complicate your life. You see the door, you go through it, okay? Or you see the vision, you just give it shape and form, and then you do your work, and then you await until right action from the external, from the field, really reveals to you. So the doing changes after the being changes, all right? You do not do stuff just to see, okay, how would the successful person be like? How would they wear things? How would they communicate? That's acting, guys. I mean, really, that's acting, that's performing. You can convince yourself or others for a couple of weeks or months, whatever. But if it's not rooted from who you are, when you just go back and at home you're just totally different, it's not something that rooted within you, let's call it that way, or alchemically speaking, not something that's crystallized within you. Because if it takes you performance, it takes your life force energy. You don't want to pay your life force energy, you want to generate it, you want to express it. So nervous system lens, again, I'll bring you to this understanding that nervous systems naturally organize behavior around identity that we occupy, consciously, unconsciously, whatever feels natural. So when the state changes successfully, not by performance or acting, your actions, they literally begin to follow the state more naturally. It's going to be revealed to you. You're going to know how to answer. You're going to know what steps to be taken. Overall, your expression in life will be totally different. So the key insight from here is going to be being comes before doing first. You feel yourself to be, you feel it. You not convince your mind, but rather just feel yourself. It has to be aligned. It has to feel natural. And only then will you be able to express yourself differently in this world. All right? So let's go here. If you had a different concept of yourself, everything will be different. Okay? I think we already covered that. Yeah. So let's go here. If you change your concept of yourself, the events ahead of you in time are altered. But thus altered, they form again a deterministic sequence starting from the movement of this changed concept. You are being with powers of intervention which enable you, by change of consciousness, to alter the course of observed events. In fact, to change your future. A bit artistically written by Neville Goddard, granted, he knows how to examine it and how to verbalize it beautifully for us. In practical terms, what I want to say that Neville doesn't begin here with changing circumstances. Have you noticed that? He doesn't begin with that. He begins literally with changing the one experiencing those circumstances. Who is that? You, me, whatever. So this is the thing. He's reversing the order. It's not about the event. It's about the person who's experiencing, who's observing that event. All right. So in practical terms, this is what it means. And through lived experience, it's like imagine two people. They receive same message. Exactly, it could be like the same invitation to speak at an event, like a speaker, right? So one immediately will think, "How probably succeed? I love it. It excites me, right?" But another one might say, "I'm not experienced uh, in that subject criteria enough, right? It's not yet the comfortable space for me to exercise my presence." So you see, whoever is already rooted in the idea of who they are, they will agree on that. But if the idea is just mental, not bodily anchored, a nervous system will always refuse this offer. Always. That's why I'm telling you guys, mental approach to manifestation subject is something that you should not focus on. You expand your knowledge, of course. You first bring awareness to it, but for integration to take place, you experience the manifestation through your body. All right. So yeah, as your self-concept becomes more familiar in this, your perception, your choices, your answers, your expression overall, responses naturally will begin to shift, okay, based on whatever concept you have of yourself. And a new future will begin with a new self-concept. So it's that easy, literally. It is easy. Some might say, okay, I'm struggling here to understand, but I mean, seriously, um, this is something you should not take. I mean, these teachings are not for you to read it, to understand it mentally, and then just apply it blindly just because he says so, right? No, question it. How does it feel for my body? Because he's not saying act. He's not saying just try to portray yourself as a different version of yourself. He says the feeling is the secret. Feeling is not emotion, guys. Emotion is mostly mentally derived, right? It's like mental activation. But feeling is something that resides within you. Feeling is normality. This is what I would call it as. All right. So there was some very nice statement here which I really, really liked. Okay, maybe here. Okay, let's go here. So if you would change your life, you must begin at the very source with your own basic concept of yourself. It goes without saying, right? This is something we have already discussed together. Why? Because free will is not choosing actions again or manipulating events, as many people might guess when they hear manifestation, right? It's not about manipulation here. Manipulation is your ego. Ego is, well, you know what ego does eventually. But what free will is literally choosing this state from which actions naturally emerge, and you cannot predict the actions. Sometimes it comes from you, but it's not even from you're just catching the higher intelligence, so to speak, within the ideas. It shows in your life as an idea, as an aha moment, as something, it shows up as a person, it shows up as an opportunity, it shows up sometimes as scrutiny. Yes, if you are ready to elevate your life and you see, okay, my previous concept was not really something that it didn't bring me the results of the life that I wanted. So hence I've recognized the patterns, I've recognized myself, I've known myself now. So I know myself and I can see the patterns and everything that's around me, and I'm ready to change. So sometimes when you're ready to change, there is a period when you have to kind of say bye-bye to the areas of your life, to the people in your life, to certain circumstances, events, environments even, so that's why something has to crumble before bigger integration of your new identity begins to start, if it makes sense. I went through it. I'm still like in it. So I understand from my own example, and I also understand how nervous system works. And so it's very important, because without understanding of the basics, that you cannot mentally convince yourself of any idea, like on a long term, right? You won't be able to root yourself in the whatever that you want to have. For example, if you want to have that job, right, that role, so when that role comes to you, you might not be able to keep that role, or maybe the teamwork or the teammates will not be really welcoming, or something might happen, along the way. So what your ego said, okay, I want to have that job because I'm gonna feel good, right? I'm gonna feel successful. I want to do that. I want to whatever. So when you get that by acting in terms of, contacting other people, sending resumes, 1 million resumes, and going through like thousands of interviews, calling people, trying to, utilize your network, and then something happens, like you're getting a job, but that job doesn't fulfill you because you thought on the surface level, you thought the job will complete you. Ain't gonna happen like that. You have to feel yourself first. And then the job that you didn't, maybe sometimes you're not even aware of the certain role, certain company, and then it comes to you. And then either you respond, or if you're not ready, contraction or something, like whatever. Everything is based on everyone's readiness, okay? So that's why I'm saying there's no one size fits all. There's not one magical technique that will fit all. This is a long-term vision, all right? Let's go here. I've been rambling a lot, so let's go. let's finish up with these beautiful paragraphs. The important thing to bear in mind is that you have infinite free will in choosing your assumptions, but no power to determine conditions and also events. So you can create nothing, but your assumption determines what portion of creation you will eventually experience. So practically speaking, these chapters, and where it began, right? Your freedom is not forcing life, your free will, so to speak. It's consciously choosing the state that you return to. Yes, consciously choosing. So, for example, a lived example, right? Many people, they might believe that they must force life into certain place, right? Push harder, control details, and predict the outcomes. I already explained it with a job example, with a role, whatever, with a corporate world role that someone wants to manifest, for example. So Neville says your true freedom is not choosing the event or every event. It's choosing the assumption from which you meet those events. It's very important, you guys. So the bridge here of incidents, so to speak, unfolds from their own. All right? And the nervous system doesn't need to control every outcome. It learns to live from a state that gradually becomes natural to you. You choose the state and allow life to organize around it, because again, nervous system is the magnet. It's something that magnetizes, that experiences, people, events, whatever. All right, whatever we feel comfortable within ourselves, it magnetizes and brings to us to experience. So for exercise, I want you to digest it, to metabolize this information, and ask yourself this question. All right, where do I exercise free will? Consciously, unconsciously. Like, what did I know about the free will? Did I think that my free will is in action? No, not there. Your free will is in state, because that state brings the action. Consciously or unconsciously will you be aware of it, all right? So for you to understand, this chapter redefines free will, as we already understood. Choose the assumption, become the identity, let your actions then flow from that state which you assumed, and allow reality literally surprise you, or reflect whatever you are signaling by your state. So the greatest freedom, you guys, free will, is not controlling the future. It's choosing who you are before that future arrives. So I hope you liked this information. It's a totally different perspective on the subject of free will that Neville Goddard shares with us, and I totally agree with him. I agree with him 100%, because this is something that many people don't understand. And I think when he put that lens of that enlightenment lens, if there is such a word, on this subject, it allows us view things totally differently, because we understand we should not tackle the details of every single like event, person, like action, response. No, it's not about that. It's about much bigger picture. It's about something that unfolds, that allows those events to unfold, if it makes sense. So I hope it was very beneficial to you. For sure, for me, it was whilst reading these chapters like many, many times. And yeah, if you have any questions, you guys, please do ask me, because I'll be happy to discuss with you more. And yeah, we'll see you on the next chapter, in the next chapter. And again, any questions, you're welcome to ask. And I hope to see you very, very soon.